Welcome to Creative Piecemeal Podcast, a podcast for creatives. I'm your host, Tammy Takeishi. Join me for compelling conversations with artists, actors, authors, musicians, and other creatives about the impact of the creative and fine arts in their lives and our ever-changing world. Thank you for listening. Hello, and welcome to Creative Piecemeal. I'm your host, Tammy, and today I am grateful to be joined by two of the three members of the amazing band Savoy Brown. I'm joined by Patrick DaSalvo and Garnet Grimm. Patrick is their bassist, Garnet is their drummer, and so excited to have you all around. The blues rock band has been around since the 1960s, and they have a new album out on February 17th, 2023 called Blues All Around, so definitely check that out if you are a blues rock fan, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
You're welcome. So I always like to get started with this question, and you both can answer one at a time, which is who or what led you to the creative art field and to become a musician?
For me personally, it was my dad. My dad was a musician in the central New York area where I grew up. So we always had musicians around and music playing. And so, yeah, that was my first influence. And we always had drums in the house, so I started banging on drums pretty early in my life. And so I was very this would have been, for me, would have been the 1960s time frame. So, there was a lot of stuff that I was listening to that the blues, it was a natural trajectory for me. It felt good, and I love blues rock, blues-based music, which of course a lot of that was happening in the 60s and 70s. So just was natural for me, and that's how I got here.
Excellent.
And me, well, you know what? I thought it'd be a good thing for me to do. And we had a cousin, Buzz Kua, who was a guitar teacher. So I started taking guitar from him. We grew from there. I wound up, this was like what would that be? 1960, a long time ago. 1967. 67, 68, I started playing. So I took lessons, and I went from there.
Excellent. Garnet, if you could play any other instrument besides drums, what do you think you would sort of mess around with?
It's interesting. I've thought about that. I've fooled around with guitar. I've fooled around with piano. And I've discovered that I'm terrible at all of those. I think a cool instrument, though, I think I would love to be like a tenor sax player from the 50s, in like a bop band. I think that was a cool.
I thought you wanted to be a hurdy-gurdy player.
Hurdy-gurdy's cool too, but I like if I had to play something else, I'd be more of a horn player as opposed to a guitar player. I love guitar. I love it. But you got to be flamboyant and theatrical and stuff like that. And I can't do that. I'm a support guy, but I probably could be. I could probably play saxophone and make it look cool,
There you go. How about yourself, Pat?
I'm trying to think right now. You know what? I'm just a bass player. I'm very basic guy, and it fits my personality.
You're committed.
I know he should be committed. Let's get the phrasing right here. No, I don't think. I tried some, like Garnet. I tried some other instruments, and I just was like, I like the bass. I like what it does in a group.
Yeah, I think a lot of bass players start messing around with guitar originally, don't they? A lot of them. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. No, I started playing guitar a little bit, and I gravitated towards the bass.
Yeah.
It's less
It has
strings.
two less strings. Yeah.
Less strings, less problems. If I'm getting paid by the note, I'm probably better off playing the bass.
I also just love that the bass has such a deep, sound. It just vibrates right through your body,
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then with drums, oh, you can't go wrong with drums. It's so much fun. You just get all your energy out.
I agree. And I've also when I've messed around with other instruments, I've also thought, wow, I am just so not used. I'm so used to having such a bigger playing surface. So, with drums, you get to whack everything and you don't have to, my fingers don't get tied up.
So you guys both joined the band in 2009. So you've been with them for quite some time. What is one of your favorite memories of being with Savoy Brown? Either one can go first.
Yeah, that's a tough one because there's so many great memories.
Yeah.
I have a couple of fond ones. Probably one of the most fond ones was just recently, a few years ago before COVID, when we played the 100 Club in London with Kim, because that was such a memorable time. It was one of these clubs that was still around, and it was even the early Savoy Brown would have played there. So it's been around for a long, long time, and everybody who's anybody's played there, and it was pretty cool. And actually, another place we played that I really thought was cool was the Surf Ballroom, Pat. Where,
in Iowa.
Yeah, in Iowa, where it just happened to be the last gig that Buddy Holly played in the Big Bopper, and that's still going. And and that was very memorable. But I mean, we have so many memories and trips. I mean, we've been to Brazil, Japan, or Europe, all over the world,
Canada, yeah.
And so nailing down the favorite gig or the favorite place, that's a tough one. So
there's a lot of venues we played there I just love going back to, but one moment I did like when we played at the Ottawa Blues Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And Kanye West was the headliner, and we got like way better reviews than him, which I thought was hysterical. So
I think we were the only blues band.
Yeah, we were
there that day on the Ottawa Blues Festival. I thought.
Yeah, I think Canned Heat played, and maybe Walter Trout.
Yeah.
But what a great festival that is! That's a phenomenal festival up there. Yeah, there's so many gigs. I don't know. There's so many places we played.
Oh, I can tell you a place that was very memorable for me, Pat, was the place we played in the Canadian Rockies. You remember we flew into a tiny airport? We ended up playing this huge festival in the Canadian Rockies. It was
in the middle
just
of nowhere.
Absolutely stunning, beautiful.
Yeah, we flew to Vancouver, took a little plane that landed us on a lake, got into a car and drove forever.
Yeah.
And then there was like thousands of people in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird one.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Beautiful
I don't
place.
know, that's a good question, but there's like, once again, we've done so many shows and we've done quite a few tours over in other parts of the world that I don't know, I just enjoyed all of them. I don't think anything really stood out. Isn't it weird? Mm-hmm. Playing the Iridium sometimes was great, not great, but it was like memorable.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This has nothing to do with music, but do you guys have any sort of pre-show or after-show rituals or like foods that you absolutely love to have when you're traveling? Things like that?
Well, I have to tell you, Kim was a good Indian cook, so we would often try Indian food in a lot of places where we would go, right? Yeah. And and I will never order vindaloo and so wherever we were. Remember,
There
I
was some
couldn't.
place in California.
It was so hot
When the guy
in
goes,
California.
"Are you sure you want to order this?" You guys, it is very, very hot. And it was like,
Yeah,
yeah, give it to me. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a bad one for you.
yeah, I couldn't. I
That
couldn't
was
figure.
where was that near San Juan Capistrano? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
San Juan Capistrano.
Was
There's
it?
a
Okay.
Indian restaurant there. Don't order the vindaloo unless you can handle
Yeah, it was very hot. No,
it.
we don't. We're not like that. We just come in. We're really meat and potato guys. We like all type. We like Thai. We like any type of food. But we never were one for going. Oh, we need this. For my show so I can perform. So no, that never really happened much.
Yeah, in fact, I think we were the boring guys because we never on the rider we always asked for coffee and sandwiches and that was it.
Yeah, some fruit.
Yeah, fruit
some
sandwiches and coffee.
and
And
some little deli tray. Cheeses and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, we'll take all the green M&Ms that you guys don't want.
yeah.
Sounds like you guys were easygoing, which is always good.
Yeah. Very anti-drama. The band was. That's why the three of us played together so long. There was very little drama or wanting of a lot. We just wanted to go play music. That was our whole thing. We just wanted to play music, and hopefully we had a halfway decent crowd, and that was it. Really, Tammy. It was like, I don't get a lot of the stuff. Then again, like we're just who we are.
But as you can tell from Pat's background, Tammy, he is one of the better bass players in the universe.
Yes, I am. I'm right now. I'm in Pluto. I will be back soon to all of my people.
He's in outer space.
I'm in outer space. I'm telling you, I did this background, and my doctor was just. As soon as she got on, she went like, it was like, and then all of a sudden these pictures started flowing across the back behind my head. It was absolutely hysterical. And she's trying to be really serious, which she should have been. And I'm like, going like, oh boy. And I couldn't turn it off. Once I had started the process, it was there.
Well, it's a very nice background, though.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought I would do it. I looked at it and went, oh my God, there's that background again. I got to use that one.
At least it wasn't one of those filters that had you looking like a cat or something.
No, yeah, my God, no. Yeah.
Although that would have been interesting today too.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm goofing around? No, that's the way I really look. I was born at the zoo. My mom's a lion.
Oh gosh, you guys are great.
Yeah, you should hang out with us. You should have went on the road with us.
Right? Yeah.
You probably would have ran away. You would have called the local sheriff.
Oh goodness. In terms of musical advice, what is a piece of musical advice that you guys completely ignore? Like you just toss it out the window.
Oh, well.
How I should play.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's thrown out completely.
Sometimes
I am what you see.
Yeah. Well, that is exactly a good point. What he's bringing up, I think, is definitely when you take formal lessons or, we all did a couple of years in music school. Pat and I did. And I remember music theory classes where they, said you can't do, no parallel fifths, no parallel eighths, no, and we used to, you think, why? It's music. Yeah. There shouldn't be any rules. What are you talking
about?
No
rules.
I got involved with this because I didn't want to have any rules, So I think that I think it's important to learn the basics, right? But in the end, you got to be your own voice. So a lot of times I think I listen to somebody's advice and then I take it kind of guarded, where I go, okay, I thank you. I'll store that away, but I might not do it.
Yes, please pass the pepper.
Yeah, that's what I think. Pat, you got any rules? Pat breaks all the rules.
Yeah, I'm like a rule breaker. No, I really don't, at this point in my life, I really don't listen to too many people. I did listen to Ken because he was really, very worldly guy, and he had done all this, done this for so long, and he really had a lot to offer me and Garnet as far as our playing. I think both of our playing improved dramatically over the years that we had worked with him. And I think that's what led with us to A, stay in the group so long, and B, do the records that we did. We recorded very quickly and efficiently. And we had really worked.
I would like to bring up a story that is in the line of what we're talking about. We did an album, Kim and Pat and I did an album. We did a few albums with this gentleman named Ben Elliott. Ben had a intern that was asking him one day, well, they were setting up or doing some things, and the intern started to prepare something a certain way, set up mics or whatever it was, and then Ben asked him, why are you doing that while we were there? And the kid said, well, that's what I learned. You've got to do this. And he goes, oh, forget all that. He said, forget all that. He said, just do it. We're going to do it this way. So, you learn your own tricks as you go along. I mean, this guy was definitely a veteran studio engineer, worked with Keith Richards and Eric Clapton. And so
Sheryl Crow, he worked with everybody. Peter Green,
with
Leslie West. Yeah. Yeah. He worked with a ton of people. Really good. And unfortunately, he had passed on us, Tammy. Right. We had recorded our record, Ain't Done Yet, in 2020, and he had passed like a month later.
Yeah, right at the beginning. We finished the recording just before COVID, and Ben passed away just at the beginning of that COVID crisis.
Cancer. We don't know exactly all the details, so I should be guarded on what I say, but I don't think he got the treatment he was supposed to get, and he wound up unfortunately passing away. And he was a very, very talented man. He had recorded everybody, guys like Pat Martino, the jazz guy. He just did everybody, and it's sad that he's gone. It's really sad he's gone. Then our agent passed away, Charlie, who was a super guy. And then Kim got sick and Kim passed away. So for me and Garnet, it hasn't been exactly a good couple years.
Yeah.
We're still here.
But things are looking up. Yeah.
Yeah. Things are looking up. When you're down on the ground looking up, you're looking up.
Right.
We got a new record coming out and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you guys like to talk a little bit more about the record that's out on February 17th?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess what I'd like to say about it is it's we went through a little bit different recording process for us. We were used to doing things very live, organic, and it was the three of us working together. But this one we built from the bottom up, and it had to do with Kim's situation where he was not feeling well. So long days in the studio were not an option for him. So he sent demos ahead. Pat and I laid down our basic tracks over those and proceeded to build the record around that. So Pat and I went in the studio first and spent a day or two there, anyway, and then Kim came in the second day and started to work with us. But yeah, so that was a whole different experience for us because we're blues rock guys, and we're used to all being in the same room together and playing off of each other, and it was very, very different for us on this one.
Yep.
So, but I enjoyed it. It was a nice it was a nice experience.
We talked about this because me and Garnet I'm in Florida and Garnet's in New York, so we hadn't been together for about a year to even play. And Garnet was very concerned about, is this going to work? How are we going to do this? And I kept saying, oh, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And we had played together prior to working with Kim. So we've worked a lot together. Let's put it that way. And then, working with Kim over this last 12, 13 years that we've been recording with him, we got very tight, and you become like a team, and you can anticipate what somebody's doing. And we literally went in the studio and everything was 1 or 2 takes, and it was like, fine. It was like, what are you going to do? There's nothing more to say for me. There's nothing more for me to do to this. This is what it should be. And it's only because the 3 of us have worked together so much that it was just like, this is where we're at right now. So let's just do this. So
it fell together pretty quick. It fell together pretty quickly because we had so many years of working together that we just kind of knew what was coming. You could almost anticipate what was supposed to happen.
Right.
So even though we hadn't been together for a long time, we hadn't been together for a while because of COVID, and then we only played a gig in 2021, and then Kim got sick, so
we played 1 show. But in 2020, we had went to the UK and we did our tour there, came back and did a Texas tour, then we went up to Canada, then we recorded the record, and then there was this thing that the world stopped, and you think about that whole situation, Tammy. It was pretty, not only scary, but it was very, is this how we're going to react to this? Nobody was really prepared worldwide for the situation that came, and a lot of things stopped. A lot of clubs closed. A lot of people lost their jobs. The whole world. I think years from now we'll look back at this, and we'll realize what had happened and the changes that have become in society now. People work at home and people don't go out, and people have a fear in them now. It's not very positive out there sometimes, but there is that positiveness from individuals, but it's a whole different world right now. How did it affect you? I mean, how were you with this whole thing?
It definitely affected me from a creative standpoint, because I felt for a while that it was difficult to harness any energy into something creative, because it was just taken up with all of the real world aspects,
Right. And the isolation.
Right?
The isolation was very it was I remember a friend of mine picked me up. I had flown back up to New York, and I go, let's go out. And he looked at me and he goes, let's go where? He goes, everything's closed. I go, you're right. I go, I wanted to go get something to eat. He goes, I go, yeah, we can't even go anywhere. There was, and then I went back in the house, and I was like, oh my God, so it was a very interesting time. Not a fun time. But the retrospect, I think a lot of people started thinking about their lives and where they were at, and what they were doing, and like, is working worth it? Is life worth? It's like, it was crazy. It really was.
Yeah, definitely a time to think about a lot of deep stuff, and I think that affected a lot of artists and creative people moving forward too.
Yeah. I think we still haven't recovered from the whole thing, but I think it's coming around slowly. I think people are going to want to see more things.
They are. They are. It's just like, we're over Europe. All the promoters were complaining. Like, half the audience is there now. A lot of people are just not going out. Ironically though, we had great we had great shows over there. I mean, all our shows were really well attended. So I don't know what the hell they were talking about personally, but I'm glad they were. You know, I'm glad people came out and were enjoying their life. And we didn't see a lot of masks over there either. Remember?
Yeah. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it was actually good. It was a good thing. People were living. But who knows, you know, from years from now, what this whole thing will do to people.
Yeah. It's definitely shaken things up for sure, and created a whole different level for artists and musicians.
Definitely. So, yeah, definitely. I think there's some great music that's come out of it. I can't think of anything right now, but I know there's a lot of people that were writing and really thinking about what they were doing, and we'll see what happens, you know.
So a fun question. This one's going to be sort of tricky, but if you were stranded on an island and you could only take one record, one book, one drink, and one food, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I know. These are tough questions, these kind of questions.
Really?
One record. Oh, wow. Well,
silent. What is the record? Remember, did the record? It was all silence.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. Okay, so for me, I guess I'm gonna take the Beatles' White Album with me because it was lengthy.
It'll keep you busy.
It'll keep me busy, and let's see. What was a drink? Well, I'm going to take coffee because I don't drink alcohol anymore. So, and a food, that's a tough one. I guess I think I'd have some chicken with some stir fry and apple pie with ice cream to go on top. And then there was one other one. I'm missing one.
A book.
Oh, a book? That's a good one too. I don't know what book I would have. I don't know.
I would assume a Bible for you.
Yeah, for me, I would probably take a Bible. I guess I would because I'm deeply religious, so that would be helpful to me. I was trying to think of a series actually that I could read, but on a desert island.
Those are all good choices.
Yeah,
I would take. I've already read them. The Sherlock Holmes, the Conan Doyle. I like that. I like bourbon, and not a lot, but bourbon. And then I would do curry dish. And then for the record, I'm going with the Beatles too. But I'm trying to think which Beatles record, because there's so many good ones. There's so many good records out there. Period.
Well, I almost went with Sgt. Pepper's because it had such.
Oh, that was a great record.
Yeah, it had different stuff.
I'll go with Sgt. Pepper's, so I don't have to think harder in it.
I got the White Album. That's great. Well, I hope we're stranded together then, Pat. That's great.
Yeah.
Although you better bring some naan. You always have a side.
Yeah, I love naan.
Indian food is really, really great.
It is good. It's good for you. It's always got good stuff in it, you know, like turmeric and ginger and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, all the good spices. Yeah.
I love Thai food too.
So what would you bring, Tammy? Come on, you got to get in on it now.
Oh man, that's tough because I always ask it and I never think about it.
Oh.
I think for the drink, it would be a toss-up between Dr. Pepper and coffee. But not mixed together.
All right.
For the book, oh my gosh. I feel so evil asking this question now because it's really hard. Oh my gosh.
I know. See, yeah.
I used to read a lot. I don't read anymore like I used to.
Yeah.
I'm into I do IT. And at one point I just got so sick because I was always reading a manual that I stopped reading. Literally stopped her. I just went, okay, I don't want to read anything anymore.
Off topic, but Patrick, have you ever watched the show The IT Crowd?
No.
It's a funny British show. You might get a kick out of it.
Was it,
Really?
was it on Netflix?
Yes, actually, it is on Netflix. It's a
Is it
pretty
the
short
IT
one. It's like
crowd?
the IT crowd. Yeah,
Okay. It's
yeah.
gotta be a bunch of geeky people.
It is. It is. It's
Yeah.
really fun. Yeah.
I'm not geeky. I'm not that smart, actually. I just happen to fall into this trade.
Well, somebody's
So,
got to fix the stuff, right?
yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
That's what I did all day today. Fix the stuff.
Is that
Oh,
it says it on the business card, right? Pat DaSalvo fixes the stuff.
That's-
it just says, please don't call me back if it doesn't work.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Still thinking of a book. So I'll come back to you with my answers and we'll go on to another question.
Okay, all right.
Because I got to think about that. Would you be able to talk a little bit more just in general, not only about your music experiences with Savoy Brown, but the upcoming record and, what you guys might want to do in the, now moving forward?
Like Garnet said, we did the record from the bottom up, and it came out. At first we didn't know what the hell to expect, especially with Kim's situation because of his physical limitations due to the chemo and everything he was going through. The man is a very tenacious individual. He had a vision, and he got it. He got his last record out there, and I give him a lot of credit for the way he did it. And he did it. He just did it really well. He didn't want any sympathy. He just wanted to get his record out. That's why he always was, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
It was always for him. It was always the music and playing and doing the best he could do. And I give the guy a lot of credit because he probably could have been could have been more famous and he could have been wealthier, but he chose a certain path that he was comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good to meet a guy like that. And he taught me how to be humble, not by telling me to, just by his actions. He was a very humble guy. And he was, he's a musician. Sometimes he was kind of eccentric. All of us are a little kind of weird sometimes. People don't know how to take us. But he really, he walked the walk. I give him a real lot of credit. Garnet?
Yeah, well, as far as the record, the new one, I would like everyone to try to go to savoybrown.com. You can pre-order the record there.
Yes.
And also a lot of merchandise is there, and you
And
can see some
artwork.
Kim's artwork. He also was an artist, did quite a few paintings. And as far as his legacy, I mean, please, people should check it out. I mean, he was someone who's very close to the modern music history. I mean, as far as blues rock, he helped launch a lot of careers. People who were in and out of his band over the years, people that went on to be quite famous, actually. He is the only person that I know that I think the only band he was ever in was Savoy Brown. He started it. He wrote most of the songs. He played in every gig. And I mean, that's incredible for 50 plus years. And that's quite a career. And he took the band all over the world. So,
yes.
There was people there wherever we were. There was always somebody to see him. And it was funny when I first got in the band how people would be waiting for him to autograph records. It was kind of like, oh, what's this all about? Because people would always be there waiting for him to autograph something. And he was pretty gracious at doing it. A lot of people probably sold the damn stuff on eBay, but, whatever. As far as me and Garnet, me and Garnet are now playing with a label mate. He's on the same label we're on, Sean Chambers. And Sean has quite a rich history too, and that's what we're doing now. We did go to Europe with him in October. We've done some shows, and hopefully we're going to put a record together on the same label, and it'll be coming out at the end of the year.
Nice, excellent. Well, one final question for both of you all. In your own words, what does it mean to live a creative life?
Poverty.
All right. Let's see, Tammy, we're gonna ask you, you're gonna have to respond to this one too. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I think it means certain freedoms to live a creative life. I think it's attractive for a lot of people who are creative that you get to sort of call your own shots. That's I know a lot of people get involved. Pat and I both over the years have been involved with music for a lot of years, and you meet a lot of people who get involved with this because they want to live alternative lifestyles. They just can't see themselves working 9 to 5 every day in a steady job like the rest of the world, and they just don't think with that side of their head. They think they have to have another outlet, another way to live. And that's why I think so many artists, a lot of people think, oh God, they're so weird, they're weird people, but they're kind of the spice of life people, so that's how you got to look at them. It takes all kinds, and they're the ones helping the world turn.
Yeah.
So
we need them there. Someone's got to document it on music or film or dance or whatever form, a book, of what's really going on. And that's what music always does. It usually documents the times, not as much as maybe a book would, but
right.
Current music usually documents the time, what's going on, and how, and what's going on with the world. So
nice.
Thank you, Garnet and Patrick, for coming on the show and talking about your new album, Blues All Around, which is out February 17th. So listeners, definitely check the show notes for their bios and links to pre-order or purchase the album, depending on when you're listening to this episode. And as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Like the show? Have a question? Stop by the Facebook and Instagram pages. Links are in the show notes, or search for Creative Piecemeal Podcast on social media and click follow for all the latest.